Today's affirmation: my worth is not defined by perfection. It's defined by my genuine effort and authenticity. Do you consistently find yourself as the last one to leave the office? Do you take work home or dedicate your weekends to the job? You may justify these habits because you frame yourself as a perfectionist, someone willing to do whatever it takes to ensure flawless results. You wear it like a badge of honor. Or perhaps you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, paralyzed, unable to hit publish or share your work until it meets your strict standards. You seemingly label yourself as a perfectionist with pride, but beneath it all, it's an overwhelming fear of failure. It's time to throw away these labels, badges, and masks, and let's unburden ourselves from the extra weight of perfection so we can move forward lighter and more energized, so we can show up for ourselves authentically. Hello and welcome to the Mindful Career Change Podcast. I'm your host, Valerie Mecki, a career change counselor and guide. Today's episode, we are practicing a transformative affirmation of letting go of your perfectionism and embracing your authentic self. My worth is not defined by perfection. It's defined by my genuine effort and authenticity. I'm so glad you're here. From one perfectionist to another, I can deeply empathize with the exhaustion from overworking yourself, earning the midnight oil, all to either prove your worth or perfecting your work to avoid any chance of experiencing failure. As someone who identifies themselves as a recovering perfectionist, I'm still a work in progress. I know that wanting everything to be perfect comes at a price. In my early days in the fashion industry, when I was transitioning from a production manager to a buyer, which is a huge shift of responsibilities and visibility in the organization, I felt incredibly insecure with this role change. Imagine, for some context, going from being an equipment manager on a winning basketball team to now playing on the court. This career pivot was one of the biggest opportunities that ultimately changed the trajectory of my career in a role that lasted for over a decade and a half. Yet, for the majority of the time, I had the worst case of imposter syndrome and fear of failure, all hidden behind the mask of looking like I've got it all under control and being perfect at my job. It was exhausting, constantly working or thinking about work and always worried and wondering, am I good enough? At the time, I thought the only way to succeed is to be perfect at everything that I did. But now looking back, if I'd used perfectionism as a badge of honor, I might have experienced even greater growth and success with a fraction of the stress and with more fulfillment. Perfectionism comes at a cost. I'll give you 3 examples. Number 1, fear of taking risks. One of the biggest setbacks of perfectionism is the fear of making mistakes or failure. This often stops us from taking risks, which can lead to a lack of creativity, innovation, and growth. Staying in the zone of performing perfectly can rob you from significant opportunities or unique accomplishments, never really allowing yourself to fully shine and radiate with all of your gifts and talents. Number 2, not voicing your opinions. The fear of being judged or saying something wrong can lead to feelings of stagnation and regret. By holding back, you're stifling not only your growth, but potentially stripping away diversity in the form of opinions or different perspectives, contributing to the status quo instead of sparking progress. Over time, this reluctance to voice your opinions can be soul-crushing and having to deal with lots of regrets. And lastly, the cost of perfection can lead to overworking, leading to diminished returns. There comes a point in which investing more time or effort beyond what's necessary doesn't lead to better outcomes. This is called the law of diminishing returns. Overanalyzing or spending more time to make it look perfect can actually make the final product worse, not better. Overworking can cloud your judgment, hinder creativity, and miss the target of the overall big picture initiative because you've become so fixated on the insignificant and minor details, ironically defeating the purpose of striving for perfection. Listen, having high standards and pursuing excellence is commendable, but there's a fine line between aiming for greatness and obsessively chasing flawlessness to prove your worth or to avoid failure. True excellence is a commitment to growth and development. It embraces the lessons learned from mistakes, thrives when risks are taken, and grows when you allow your authentic self to shine uniquely in every endeavor. I understand that shaking off perfectionism doesn't happen overnight. You may have been dealing with it since you were a kid growing up. And in some work environments, you may not always feel psychologically secure enough to voice your thoughts. However, let this moment and this affirmation practice be your sanctuary, a safe haven. Here, you can build the courage to shed the badges, masks, and labels of perfectionism. Embrace the chance to show up authentically with clarity and focus, and recognize your inherent value and genuine worth. So, are you ready to practice this transformative affirmation of letting go of being perfect? Let's begin by priming your mind and body so you're open to accepting this affirmation practice. We'll start by scanning your body, letting go of any tension or energy that doesn't serve you, and taking a cleansing breath in and out. I'll begin by reciting the affirmation twice. While you hear the affirmation, imagine you're writing this affirmation down on a whiteboard, or you're watching someone write it on the board for you. This will help with memorization. So let's begin. My worth is not defined by perfection. It's defined by my genuine effort and authenticity. My worth is not defined by perfection. It's defined by my genuine effort and authenticity. I'll repeat this affirmation again, but this time I want you to repeat it out loud to yourself so you can make a connection. My worth is not defined by perfection. It's defined by my genuine effort and authenticity. I'll repeat this affirmation again. Once again, say it out loud to yourself. My worth is not defined by perfection. It's defined by genuine effort and authenticity. Now, imagine taking off the mask of perfection or removing the badge of being perfect. Grab a hold of these burdensome symbols and throw them out into the distance. Visualize this moment. I'll repeat the affirmation again and imagine yourself with this vision in full color. My worth is not defined by perfection. It's defined by my genuine effort and authenticity. I'll repeat it one last time and give you a moment to let it sink in. My worth is not defined by perfection. It's defined by my genuine effort and authenticity. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes if you had them closed, and if it feels comfortable to you, place your hand on your heart to help seal in this moment of self-care and love. This affirmation is yours to recite and practice for 21 days, at least once a day. It's most effective before you go to bed at night or when you wake up in the morning before you start your day. You can take your affirmation practice a step further by making your affirmations sticky. Try turning them into a mantra. My worth is not defined by perfection. And repeat it to yourself while meditating or taking a walk. Or write this affirmation down on a sticky note and place it somewhere visible, like on your laptop or computer, as a daily reminder that your worth is defined by your authenticity and genuine effort. an encouraging sentiment that can also help with imposter syndrome, which I take a deeper dive into the causes and ways to combat these crippling thoughts in the previous episode, episode 20. I'll add the link in the show notes. And if you're curious to learn how to make your affirmation practice sticky, which is an acronym on how to make your affirmations more effective and sustainable, go back to episode 1 where I walk you through the steps on how to make your affirmations sticky so they can have a more transformative impact on your career-changing journey. Please make sure to subscribe and bookmark this episode so you'll have it handy whenever you need a quick guide of this affirmation. If you're new to the podcast, thanks for joining us. Explore other affirmations that resonate with you. And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend or a family member who may need an affirmation to embrace their inherent value and worth. Or please do me a favor and help me rate this podcast wherever you're listening. Your support will help other career changers discover this podcast so it can grow and blossom. Thank you for joining me, and most importantly, thank yourself for taking the time to make a mindful career change. I'll talk to you soon.